In 2006, Nickelodeon greenlit a show where an American actor accidentally became the biggest star in Japanese anime. The show was called Kappa Mikey, and it feels like someone couldn't decide whether they were making a cartoon, a satire, or an office comedy, so they just said yes to all of it. It stars a guy who yells most of his lines, a supporting cast who seem mildly resentful to be there, and an animation style that looks like it was made in two completely different programs on two different continents. And the best part is, it is possibly the most cleverly executed TV parodies that Nickelodeon has ever aired. So let's take a look at the anime parody that got buried under scheduling choices and audience confusion. This is Kappa Mikey. But first, if you like videos about cartoons that never got their due, or reminiscing on shows that you might have forgot about, please consider subscribing, because YouTube has no idea what kind of content you want unless you tell it with your mouse. Mikey Simon is a struggling actor from Cleveland. He wins a contest to star in Japan's biggest anime, Lily Moo. He arrives, is instantly famous, and starts ruining things professionally. Now, Mikey does not speak Japanese. He doesn't understand the show, and he barely knows where he is, but he's the lead. Not because he's good, but just because he won the contest. It's an exaggerated version of the clueless Westerner trope. Mikey doesn't blend in, he doesn't adapt, the world adapts around him. Reluctantly. Visually, Mikey is not drawn like anyone else. He has thick outlines, flat colors, and limited movements. He looks like he came straight out of an Adobe Flash project. Meanwhile, the rest of the cast looks like they were pulled from a 2003 fan sub. But the contrast isn't just aesthetic, it's the central joke. Mikey is out of place in every possible way, and the show is fully aware of that. The animation leans into the clash. Mikey moves like a character from an old web game, and everyone else has the twitchy rhythm of an early 2000s anime. And the background art doesn't even try to reconcile the difference. It's not a glitch, it's the design, and Mikey is supposed to stand out. He doesn't just act differently, he looks, dare I say, fucked up. When he walks into a room, he doesn't look like a cast member, he looks like a sticker somebody pasted onto the scene 5 minutes before the deadline. And the show never smooths that over. It lets the mismatch be awkward because that's what the whole show is about, cultural collision with no translation. But the show's real strength is the supporting cast. They're not just background players, they're people who have clearly been dealing with Mikey for way too long. Lily plays a magical girl on screen, but off screen she's an over-it diva who hates her job, but knows she's too important to get fired. Gonard looks like a monster, but is essentially a golden retriever in a cape. He's the only one who actually likes Mikey and seems to mean it. Mitsuki is the one person who could probably run the show alone if everyone else left. She keeps the operation running and only occasionally hints at how exhausting that is. Guano is the show's writer, director, and mascot. He's also clearly losing his grip on reality, but nobody notices because he's wearing a catsuit. They all treat Lily Moo like a real job because, to them, it is. Mikey is the new hire who doesn't understand how the copier works and somehow still gets Employee of the Month. Kappa Mikey didn't fail because it was a bad show. It failed because Nickelodeon buried it. It ran on Nicktoons Network, which at the time was kind of like the bonus level of cable TV. No ads, no merch, no replays. You only found Kappa Mikey if you tripped over it by accident while scrolling past El Tigre. Worse, it assumed that the audience had seen enough anime to get the jokes. If you didn't recognize the tropes, it just looked confusing. Like, why is everyone screaming? Why are their eyes catching on fire? Why is the mascot directing the show? Nickelodeon never figured out how to market it, so they just didn't. But now that anime is mainstream, Kappa Mikey makes a lot more sense. What used to feel like chaos now reads like intentional satire. It pokes fun at filler episodes, power-up tropes, stock characters, and how anime was localized for Western audiences. It even takes shots at how entertainment gets made at all. Bad actors in lead roles, rush production, budget constraints, and staff burnout. And under all of that, the characters still care about each other. That's what keeps the show from tipping over into pure sarcasm. You can laugh at the absurdity because the cast feels real enough to keep it grounded. Kappa Mikey didn't succeed in traditional standards, but it had something rare. A clear idea, an original voice, and just enough self-awareness to know when it was pushing the joke too far. It was dumped in a time slot that no one watched, on a network that no one could find. And it still managed to build a fan base that hasn't let it be forgotten. If Kappa Mikey came out today, it would probably be a cult hit, or at the very least, it would have a Funko Pop. Instead, it exists as a weird, brilliant blip in Nicktoons history. And sometimes, that's even more interesting than a hit show anyway. With that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If this brought back a weird memory you forgot you had, or you just like seeing what Nickelodeon tried to sweep under the rug, please consider subscribing. That way, next time I dig up another show that we all seemingly forgot about, you'll be the first to know. Alright, see you next time.